Hi everyone, another video for Monday. Here we are talking about vertical angles. Vertical angles are angles opposite each other when two lines cross. They are always equal. So if we look at the diagram that's on your notes, vertical angles would be angle A and B because they are opposite each other. So angle A and angle B. We also have vertical angles going across. Angles D and C are also opposite each other. So we have two sets of vertical angles. And remember, if we know the degrees of angle A, angle B is equal to that. A second word that we want to have defined is congruent. Congruent is kind of a fancy word for a word you already know, which is equal or the same. So in geometry, a lot of times you will see people use the word congruent instead of equal. And the symbol for congruent is a squiggly equal sign. So instead of writing angle A and angle B, you might see someone write angle A is congruent to angle B. So that we know if you're given that angle A is, say, 30 degrees, we know that angle B is also 30 degrees. Okay, so let's use that down here for our first example problem. Find all missing angles. Well, we're given the value of this angle is 65. And we know that vertical angles are congruent or equal. So if we take the angle that is directly opposite, our 65, we know that this angle is also 65 degrees. So we know that angle Y equals 65 degrees. And we know that because these are vertical angles. Now we have to figure out angle X and Z. I want us to look at the pink angle I just drew, so ignore this bottom half. This should look like a problem that we did earlier today. These two angles, angle X and angle 65, are supplementary. And remember, supplementary means they add up to 180. So I know that angle X plus angle 65, angle X plus 65 degrees has to equal 180. And I can solve just like we did before by subtracting 65. And I know that angle X is equal to 115 degrees. So angle X is 115. And once I know angle X, we can use vertical angles, right? Directly opposite is angle Z. So angle Z must also be 115 degrees. Okay, I know that's a little different than stuff we've done before, but we just want to break our vertical angles up into supplementary angles. So we have one set of supplementary angles there, and we can also cover up, and we have a second set of supplementary angles on the bottom. Okay, let's try one more. This one has a little more algebra involved, but I think that we can handle it. Let's read the problem. If angle COA is 75, so let's go ahead and label that. When you need to label angles, you're just going to follow the letters. So I'm going to start at C, go to O, end at A. So angle COA is this angle, and our problem tells us that it's 75 degrees. And angle BOD, so BOD, this is 5x. That looks a little different, but let's just keep going. What is the value of x? So there's one question. What are the measure of the other angles? There is a second question. Let's start with this x piece. We know that angle COA and BOD are vertical angles. They are opposite each other. And we know that vertical angles are always equal. So we know that 5x is going to be equal to 75. Now we need to solve for x, so we need to get x all by itself. Right now there's 5 times x, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. You can also set up story. Times 5, divide 5. And we know that x equals 15. And we can double check that. 15 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2, 75. We know that has to equal 75 because of our vertical angles. And now we need to find our two other angles. So we need angle COB and AOD, but we know that they're going to be equal. Angle COB is congruent to angle AOD. So we really just have to find the measure of one of them. I'm going to again cover up part of our problem. So if we cover up this part, we have supplementary angles. One angle is 75, and I need to find the second angle. So let's go ahead and do our math. We know that 75 plus the missing angle, COB, is going to equal 180. We're going to subtract 75. So we know that angle COB is 105. And again, since our angles are congruent, we can say that both angle COB is equal to 105 degrees and angle AOD is equal to 105 degrees. We can put that in our picture. And that is the end of our second example. There's our notes for Monday night's homework. They were a little bit longer, but I think that we had some good information. Go ahead and try the problems on your own, and I will see you in class on Tuesday.